Love it. All sports. Double coverage. Three, two.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Double Coverage. I am Dom. We hope you're still living, loving, and breathing sport. And I am with the great man, Saucy. What is happening?
Welcome back, Domma. Another show, double coverage. Show number 25. NBA is back.
It is definitely back.
That's what we like to see. And I'm excited. Well, I wasn't excited today because my boys lost. But we'll touch on that in a second. Massive show. What do we got on the cards?
Oh, we've got heaps, mate. Obviously, we'll open it up with some NBA talk in just a minute. But F1 news, just quickly, we've got something to definitely touch on. EPL, we've had 2 weeks of EPL fixtures in a week since our last podcast, leading into Christmas. There's some great games this week as well, so we'll cover that, give you a table update. We had UFC? Did we have UFC last week? We did.
Yeah, we had UFC.
We had
past.
UFC.
There was a great fight in Thompson versus... Oh, I forgot the guy's name, but we'll go over it when we get to it.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Obviously,
another
NFL,
great UFC
Yeah,
card.
some NFL, hobby talk, and then Sauceys Smokey is just probably going to partner up with what we're going to discuss in hobby talk in terms of like a card going a bit nuts. And the Sauceys Smokey is just something that John has made everyone aware of a few weeks ago, probably a month now, probably about
in October. So
in October.
2 months, October. I had a look at when we put the Saucy Smokey post out on the IG. It was on the 24th of October. So this was 2 months ago I was telling people about this. And if you took that same advice, we'll speak about it later on. But
Yeah, definitely.
I've given people the alert, and they've still got time with that Smokey. But I'll inform you what's happened, what's transpired in sort of the last 24 to 48 hours in regards to this player and his card.
Definitely. And obviously, we're gonna once we get to hobby talk, bit of a tease. We do have a special podcast coming up for Christmas, and I think you might be pleasantly surprised to hear who we actually got on our podcast to have a chat with. So we like getting big people on the show, and we're just glad this person gave their time up. But you have to stay tuned to find out who it is. But we will get started. NBA is back. Man, we are happy. Wow. Before we do get into today's games, there's a few things we've got to touch on. As in the last week, the report has come out. Obviously, James Harden. A few things there. He's obviously a favourite of ours on this podcast. Literally, the report came out that everything was literally tailored around Harden. He had the final say in like who to get rid of, everything. It was a bit like a LeBron situation. The difference is LeBron wins, I guess. That's what everyone's saying. If you're winning, no one's going to care what you're doing in the organization. But the problem is he fails miserably in playoffs. So late to
Time
meetings,
and
time again, late to meetings, dictating when the Jets should be taken off to go to travel to the next game. Just Westbrook was just getting frustrated, and this is Westbrook, one of the most demanding players in a franchise. He was getting frustrated with Harden and not for anything, he's getting frustrated. There's something wrong because he demands the world, that guy. But in saying that, he puts in a lot of work. Russell Westbrook, we already know that. But Harden, not very good at all. And it's not helping his stock out on the market because obviously Miami was up there as one of the two teams that wanted him. And as you know, and I've mentioned this as a Miami Heat fan, I did not want him. And I'm glad that as of yesterday morning, we pulled out of the race and we said we don't want him at all, which I'm pretty happy about. As I did say, he wouldn't last 2 minutes. Jimmy Butler would make him cry on the first day of training. He would make him cry. James Harden would be like, I'm going to the strip club. Jimmy Buckets would drop the B word on him. If KD didn't like Draymond calling him the B word, just imagine Buckets calling him the B word and saying, you get your ass to training, mate. We'll see you later. And you don't want to take on a contract on a player like that could be anything. Like at the moment.
But Domma, if you have a look, realistically, what would you have had to give up? You would have to give up
Hero, everyone. We would have
Hero would have had to go,
I don't
right?
want to get rid of Hero.
Do you want to get rid of Hero
We need
and
shooters.
get Harden, who's what? He's 31. Who knows? He doesn't look after his body. He doesn't look after his body like a LeBron.
No.
So you don't know if he's going to be able to play to 36 and, you know, and have a longer peak. He might only have 2 good years left in him. And then if it doesn't work, then you've pretty much given up all your best players and all your future guys for a spud who can't get it done in the playoffs.
No, I completely agree. And obviously now...
Yeah, Ben goes on the comments. He's the best left-handed shooter ever, Domma. But he's the best left-handed shooter ever.
He's also the best left-handed defender of all time. So he probably could help there because we do play 3 and D. So it could be perfect for us. But there's another team where a couple of weeks ago I said I thought he was going to be a good fit. Now, John jumped on it straight away. He wasn't happy when I said that. And he's not happy at the moment with the talks that, one, Ben Simmons could be traded for James Harden.
Rubbish. We called it out in the socials when whoever reported it, Woj or whatever one of them, were going, they're not trading him. They are not trading him. And, you know, sure enough, you had Daryl Morey come out and saying, not even 24 hours later, saying, yeah, he's not getting traded, buddy. So, just rule that out. We were quick to jump on it. I was quick to jump on it last week in the pod when there was airings, the first airings of this came about. But then when it actually got reported by Woj, I was also quick to shut it down on the socials. Yeah. And right, sure enough, we were correct.
I just think like D'Antoni and Morey, where they're at in like 2 different ball clubs, if there's anything linked to those clubs where they're affiliated with in regards to Harden going to that club, he's not going there. Because the fact that those 2 left Harden, they don't want to see his face in their franchise ever again.
Correct.
So why in the world would those guys why would Morey want him back? I know he's a great player, but you don't want him back. As simple as that. You need someone else. Anyway, that's James Harden. That's the update on him. He's just lost his marbles. He's been eating too much pudding in his off-season and partying too hard. Too many strip clubs. He's been probably with Lemon Pepper Lou for the last bloody 2 months, eating chicken wings at the strippers. But he's got to calm his farm. He's got to play basketball. And when he gets asked questions by the media in regards to his Houston team, he can't just say next question and deflect it. Because they said, is the situation a lot better now because you've got to play with DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall? And he said, next question. You should be coming out and saying yes. That's what makes a leader. He's not a leader at all. Full stop. We're putting that out there. The other thing, opening night started. NBA is back. Started with Brooklyn versus Golden State. And Kevin Durant looks like he's picked up where he left off, which is scary.
And Kyrie's looking like the Kyrie that we know. And... you know, first game against a Warriors unit that's still trying to learn and get cohesive. Steph Curry did look good, but
so did the rookie.
Wiseman, yes,
just
your boy, Wiseman.
Look good.
Yeah, let's just hope my boy Andrew Wiggins can actually start doing something so I can move on his cards.
Wiggins shooting was dreadful, and so was Oubre. They didn't shoot well. They still almost put up 100 points, and they struggled, from shooting. And the problem is, as we did say, with that Wiggins, whole Wiggins situation, it hurt because he's not really a 2. He's more of a 3. And with Thompson getting hurt, now he's playing as the 2, and Oubre is the 3. You'd rather have him as the 3 and Oubre as the 4th best option on that team. But unfortunately, we lost Thompson prior to the season, and that's a massive loss for that ball club. But hopefully Steve Kerr's a great coach. Curry's a great leader. No
Draymond today, so they got him to come back.
They'll figure something out. But the Nets did look good. They look really good.
Yeah, they did.
They got a lot of open shots, man. A lot of open shots.
You know, Karis LeVert coming off the bench, that's just dangerous. What did he put up today? He put up 15 points. 20.
He had 20 off the bench.
There you go. So, I mean, he should be aiming to...
6 man of the year.
6 man of the year. That's what I took the words right out of my mouth. Why he couldn't get that. Because potentially at any one time he's most likely going to either be playing with KD or Kyrie. Most
Oh, yeah,
likely,
definitely.
where very rarely, probably both of them are going to be sitting on the bench.
I, everything works out good for them, and we said that. Like, it's just about the chemistry of it's going to gel. Like, Jared Allen's a good replacement for DeAndre Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, it works.
Yeah,
A great defender and rebounder for a great defender and rebounder. Like, it works like for like. But the whole thing, as we were saying, they're getting a lot of open shots because all the focus is on the two stars. And Dinwiddie missed a fair few open threes. When I was watching it, but he got the looks. And another person that's really not good to have open. Joe Harris, I reckon, is going to thrive in this system because he's going to get a lot of open looks. And as we've said, he shoots it, I think, 45% from three, which is unbelievable. So
this is best in the league, I think.
yeah, so not for anything, he could have an even better season, potentially a career season. Because if he gets those open looks and it's not contested, I expect, like, we all expect him to drop that stuff. Uh, ooh, Mast is in here picking up some Levert Prizm
He
9.
said he was going to.
I,
He said
I
he was
was
going
going to,
to.
was thinking.
But yeah, it's a tough one, and I thought about it too. I actually picked up some Dinwiddie stuff sort of ages ago at the start of the last season when no one was even thinking about the Nets. Probably should have chose Levert because you probably could have turned some profit on that, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, his Prism market, his uh, base PSA 10 market sort of hasn't really moved in the last 3 months that much. It's gone up a little bit based off card ladder. Card ladder is actually saying it's grown 54%. Okay, maybe I'm wrong on that point, but there's a lot of cards that have gone up leading up into the season. So I'm not too sure. It just depends on how much those guys get impacted. It's a tough one going after those sort of role player guys. You're not wrong on that point, Mask. They're being super low pop. The PSA 10 pop
Definitely.
report on it is 66, and the PSA 9's low as well, so at 42. But that
The spotlight is definitely going to be off of him, but as Saucy's saying, the spotlight can come straight back onto him if he dominates as that sixth
Well,
man.
that's exactly right, and he could see a sneaky rise. And if anyone, if you just have a look at Montrezl Harrell and his rise into that Sixth Man of the Year award, if you're buying his cards at the start of the season, thinking, okay, this guy can come off the bench for this team and win the Sixth Man, you've seen what an impact that can have on their cards at the end of the season. With I can't remember what Harrell's prisms were going for, but it was severely more than what you could have got them sort of at the start of the season. So if you're thinking that way with Levert that he could do that, then yeah, sure, he's potentially a buy.
And that's and not for anything, that's a perfect lead in. The great man Saucy has given us into the second game, which is actually Saucy's boys, the Lakers, taking on the Clippers, and it was a bit of deja vu. I know Saucy wasn't too happy. Let's put it this way: he lost by 7 points. LeBron and while AD didn't play the last 4 minutes,
LeBron stunk.
While LeBron didn't play the last 6.5 minutes, he sat on the bench. He let the team like see if they could do it. And the same thing happened in the first game of opening night in last season. Everyone said LeBron was washed. They started calling him the Wash King, if you remember that, based
Yeah.
on his first game. He did well. He had 20, didn't he?
Yeah, he still had 20, but
Still had
it
20.
just didn't. It just wasn't.
Okay.
It's just not up to the usual LeBron standards. But that's okay. It's
Okay.
fine. We're still the champions. We're still the champions until we get defeated.
Exactly right.
So
But
there's still another 72 games to go, Domma. Still
but
another
we look at
72
we
games to
look
go.
at the pickups and stuff. I reckon the depth on the Clippers bench isn't as good as what it was last year because obviously they had. I know they got Kennard,
What
but
do you mean? They
Harold.
just signed Kennard to a $64 million
Yeah,
contract.
but yeah, I know that. But like Kennard, like is a downgrade from Harold, and they had Landry Shamet as well on that team. They had a lot of other guys that were better shooters. They haven't got that now. They had Reggie Jackson as well. Like they've lost all those guys because Batum starts. He's not off the bench guy. But the Lakers bench has improved dramatically now. They got Wes Matthews coming off of there, Montrezl Harrell coming off there, Kuzma, Caruso. Talon Horton-Tucker. They've got some good guys coming off the bench now. That's where you struggled last year. It was a lot of dependency on really your starting five. Rondo killed it off the bench, but your starting five, but the dependency on the starting five was LeBron and AD. Now you got Marc Gasol there. You got Dennis Schroeder, who seems to be an amazing pickup, and he's already linking really well with Montrezl Harrell, which could be Montrezl Harrell's Lou Williams for the Lakers in Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder almost had a triple double. He dominated. He played so well. So I don't know. I reckon it's good to have another guy to get the ball out of LeBron's hands. Potentially LeBron playing off ball a bit. His three shooting wasn't too bad today, so he's probably gonna. It looks like he's improved that. So we'll see what happens there, but I wouldn't panic on the Lakers really. When it's all said and done, they're going to be there at the end. So
Yeah.
don't
Look,
stress. The only thing that derails this
we,
team is injuries.
we don't we want to see what we were not robbed of, but rightfully robbed because the Nuggets were just the better team in the series on last season, and that's the two LA teams in the conference final, Western Conference Finals, teeing off against each other to make it into the finals. So let's hope we get that this season.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, a massive slate of games on tomorrow. Before there is a rest for Christmas Day over in the States. No, for Christmas Eve over in the States.
Yes.
And then Christmas Day, which is Boxing Day here. There's a massive lineup. Get ready for it. There's some big games in there. But tomorrow, Bucks Celtics tomorrow are playing each other. So it'll be good to see Giannis lace them up and get back on the court. And Luka the Don will be playing his debut game for the season this season. So they come up against Phoenix. So it'll be good to see Chris Paul, Booker, and Ayton.
Good matchup. Few good matchups. You've even got Portland versus Utah, which would be a solid matchup. Exciting stuff.
It's just great to have it back, and
looking forward to seeing how that Atlanta team goes tomorrow as well.
Yeah, definitely. So great to have it back, and it is great to have it back as a permanent fixture on our podcast for the next, who knows, until the season ends, till July next year. So we're happy to have it back. That's it, mate. We'll move on. We've got some news around the world next, starting with F1. So stay tuned.
Three, two.
Welcome back, F1. Just a quick update. We said we'd bring you some news on any of the remaining seats. There was 2 seats remaining. Sergio Perez has taken the second Red Bull seat away from Alex Albon, so he's done. He hasn't got a seat, and he will not drive in Formula One next year because the last seat left is at Mercedes, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to give that number 1 seat at Mercedes to Alex Albon. So Sergio Perez takes the seat away from him. That's a
deservedly so.
Deservedly so. Honestly.
What was he driving, and he managed to, and he missed how many races?
He missed 4 races, 2 to COVID, 2 DNFs, or 3 DNFs. He didn't even finish in the last race, and he still finished 4th. 4th, behind Verstappen, who is going to be his teammate, and that is going to be a strong, strong outfit going into 2021 season for the F1. So, well done to Sergio Perez, and I'm actually looking forward to it. But Hamilton still hasn't committed. I don't know if it's because I know he's going to drive there. I'm not saying he's retiring, but they're probably working out a deal on how long that contract's going to be for. Yeah, dollar.
All about that money. Money. Hey, come on, though. It's about the cash. He's going to sign up, but it's all about the cash. It's all about the cash.
My prediction is 3 years. The reason I say the prediction is 3 years is because team principal Toto Wolff at Mercedes just signed a contract extension for 3 years, and they've been a match made in heaven, Toto and Lewis. So watch this space. We'll bring it to you, but I'm saying 3 years, and no one's
You
taking
heard it
that.
here first on double coverage.
That's it. All right, coming up next, the double whammy, some EPL, 2 weeks of football in 1 week. So stay tuned.
Three, two.
All right, welcome back. EPL, Saucy, week 13 and week 14 games in a week. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So,
And Arsenal has not gotten any better.
no,
Nothing's
you
changed for me.
got worse, which is great. That's fantastic.
We've
It's
lost.
good.
We've lost 3 games in a week. Oh,
Great talk.
we
Great
drew
talking.
one. We drew one.
It's a great talking point for us, mate. So you just want them to become worse and worse and worse. Honestly, we want them talking in this relegation zone because I want to see your reaction when we get right to the edge of the season, the end of it. I just want to see what you do. I reckon you could lose it. You might not even come on the podcast. You might not even do the soccer segment. I reckon because I could lose
Soccer
it.
segment. I'm going. I'll be back in 10.
Yeah, exactly. But week 13 started off Liverpool versus Tottenham, and the Reds get a massive win there, 2-1 to move on top of the table. Everton beat Leicester 2-0. Arsenal drew with Southampton. It was the first goal they'd scored in a very, very long time. Or second goal. They scored against Burnley. They were lucky, but they still lost. So they drew to Southampton 1-1.
has figured out where the goals are.
Exactly right. And then Wolves beat Chelsea
Finally.
in an upset, 2-1. If you haven't seen some of the goals that the Wolves kicked in this, Podence kicked a freakish goal. Like, it was awesome. Neto kicked the winner. It was a very nice winner. Beat Mendy on his left foot, which was very, very nice. Man City drew to West Brom. And straight after that game, Slaven Bilic got fired from West Brom. So unlucky for him. He gets a point. They weren't getting a result. They were struggling a bit. Next up, we have Villa versus Burnley. Villa drew 0-0. They probably could have kicked 8. And that's no exaggeration. They missed some of the most ridiculous chances in this game. And I was watching the highlights going, how have you missed this? Grealish probably could have had 4. He literally dominated. But
That's all right, Domma. You don't want him doing too well, so then you don't have to pay overs when he comes to United.
No, we're going to pay overs regardless because we're idiots. We'll offer Jadon Sancho. He'll be worth like 200 million next year, and we'll give him 199 because we're dumb. Anyway, Leeds beat Newcastle 5-2. West Ham 1-1. I want to get Saucy. I don't know if you've watched this game or you've seen highlights. I want him, because we love his reaction when he watches very nice goals on this podcast. Just go to week 13 and watch the goal by Hallier. Just you find that while I keep running through the games, because you could jump out of your seat when you see the goal that he
I'm
kicked.
on the highlights right now, mate.
I lost my shit when I saw it.
For the punters out there, fotmob.com, best website to follow all the scores, and you click into the game and it takes you straight to YouTube for the highlights. So
you're gonna love the goal.
It's elite.
Fulham drew with Brighton 0-0. Sheffield versus my boys, 3-2 win by my boys United. Amazing ball movement by the Red Devils, mate. I don't know. We're playing some good football at the moment, and I'm enjoying it.
Domma, you know, as much as you yourself were riding him on the early parts of the season,
I was right.
we had a look.
I was riding the coach as well, which
You're
I'm still
riding the coach. You're not doing as bad as you thought that you were going down that road. Well, let's just say us two, Arsenal and United, we were sitting probably 3-4 points apart from each other, and now, well, you know, Arsenal's in a relegation battle, and United's 4 points off top of the ladder.
Yeah, exactly. With a game in hand to go 2 points behind Liverpool, so which is good for us. But let's get into week 14. It started off with the demolition job, 7-0 win by Liverpool over Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson came out and said it was the worst defeat of his career.
Oh wow, what a goal!
Did you see it? It was a
What a
scissor kick.
goal.
It was a scissor
That's
kick. Ladies and
elite.
gentlemen. Go watch it. West
That
Ham
is
versus Palace.
elite goal. And the build-up play to get the
It was very
opportunity
nice.
was beautiful.
It was very nice.
And that's stuff you just do in FIFA.
Yeah,
Really.
it was unbelievable. Ben in the comments, yep, you know how to get me upset. I don't know why you say things like this, but yeah, fair enough. But I will say in that game against Sheffield, Pogba did have one of the nicest assists that I've seen. He played a no-look cross, assist, flick, whatever the hell it was, to Bruno Fernandes or Martial, and we scored. It was very nice. But we had, Liverpool beat Palace, Tottenham versus Leicester, 2-0 win for Leicester. Tottenham, 2 in a row, they've lost. They're down to 6th all of a sudden. They were on top. But if you were following us on our socials before this podcast, I did say I found a replacement for Jota in my futsal fives. I found him. Now, Sauce, I looked far and wide and abroad, but then I realised I can't go abroad. It has to be in the Premier League. But I found the man. You look at this guy, he doesn't even look like a footballer. He's just, I can't describe. It doesn't look like he's got the ability to just demolish opposition, but he has been a revelation for Leicester City. And he's replacing Jota.
I know who you're going to say.
James Maddison.
Good player.
He's taken the spot. It's going to be hard for him to lose his spot. He's a freak. Go buy his cards.
Dom's
Seriously.
calling it. Dom's calling it.
He's a gun. He's very good. They got the win 2-0 over Tottenham. Everton beat Arsenal 2-1. Arsenal was very unlucky in this game. Very unlucky. You probably could have had 3 or 4. You're finishing, as you know at the moment, he's shit house. So,
yeah, but Domma, could have, should have, whatever the saying is, but we didn't do it. And that's just the moral of a story of our season. We're struggling, and when we create chances, I watch games where we barely create chances, and the games where we do create chance after chance after chance, we can't put it away.
But you know what I like to see? Week 13, team sheet comes out. I look at it. There's a notable player that's not on that team sheet. You know who I'm talking about. Week 14, Arsenal team sheet. He's not even on the bench either. Week 14, team sheet. Look at it again. Another guy, notable player, not playing. Once again, the club is in a shambles. Mikel Arteta, you actually look like at the moment you don't know what you're doing. Because the thing is, you actually don't know what you're doing. And the fact that your best player hasn't played in how long? I don't even know. Your best player is at home getting paid, what is it, like £200,000 a week? Is it something like that? Something ridiculous.
Yeah, something like that.
Sitting at home. He's playing FIFA Ultimate Team. I'll tell you what, he hasn't got any Arsenal players in his FIFA Ultimate Team. I can assure you that much. And he can't even get a game.
He's getting paid 24 million annually. 24 million a year he gets paid.
Honestly, he's looking like an absolute...
Ozil?
He's looking like a clown not playing this guy. And don't give me the whole... Every press conference. I know Sauce doesn't watch it because it probably makes him furious. My team, we played the best. We had the opportunities, blah, blah, blah. We were all over them, If we made the opportunities, we would have beat... It's every week is the same thing. As if you're the most dominant team in the league. It's just you got unlucky. And that's why you didn't win. No. Luck is a part of the game, but you get played off the park pretty much every week. You have a spurt where you play amazing football for about 10 minutes and you go, shit, if Arsenal could produce this for 90 minutes, they could be anything. But you just can't. I don't know what it is. You're struggling. It's my turn to rant on Arsenal this week. But literally... shocking stuff. We'll get into who they're playing this week because they might not even win again. Man United versus Leeds, 6-2 win by my boys. Saucy McTominay, 2 goals in the first 3 minutes. The old Sauce played very, very well. Very happy with the win.
This
Unfortunate
is
for Leeds.
Fergie time there with, when you used to pump teams under Fergie, 5-0, 5-1. You used to kick 5 goals regularly.
Here's a good stat for you. You enjoy this stat. It was the last time we beat a team that badly. Do you know who it was?
Probably Arsenal.
Yep, 8-1. That was actually the last time we decimated a
It was
team.
8-2.
Or 8-2. And
Thank you. Give us the extra goal, mate. I remember that. I watched that game live, start to finish.
And guess who the manager was? Fergie. So
there you go. I just said you just haven't smashed
Yeah.
teams like that since Fergie.
Yeah, I know. But you were right on. Right on it. We haven't been able to do it in a very long time. But 6-2 win. I didn't celebrate too hard in this one because, as you know, we have a soft spot for Leeds. Sauce and I. It wasn't good to see them get smacked. If it was Man City last week in the derby, it would have been better. But Man City.
Domma, quick note: you can go pick up some James Mattinson Prizm RC base card. I mean, his silver card's going for about $20 and his base card you can probably pick it up for a couple bucks if you want.
Jump on it.
So there you
go. Next up, we had Man City beating Southampton 1-0. Newcastle then drew with Fulham 1-1. Brighton drew with Sheffield 1-1. West Brom was smacked by Villa 3-0. Burnley beat Wolves 2-1. And then Chelsea finally got back on the winners list, beating West Ham 3-0. The table looks as this. Top 10, Liverpool, Leicester, Man United, who are 5 points off the pace. Everton in 4th, 5th Chelsea, 6th Tottenham, 7th Southampton, 8th Man City, 9th Villa, 10th West Ham, then 11th Wolves, 12th Newcastle, 13th Palace, 14th Leeds, 15th Arsenal on 14 points, 16th Burnley on 13 points, 17th Brighton on 12 points, and in the relegation zone, Arsenal only 4 points out of it with Fulham in 18th. And then Arsenal's better than West Brom and Sheffield because they're dreadful on 7 and 2 points in last spot, Sheffield. So,
yes, starving Domma once again. And it was just proven again today in the EFL Cup when we got absolutely slapped 4-1 by City.
You did get slapped. You definitely did. Coming up this week, we are going to actually have week 15 and 16. So another 2 rounds in a week. Before the next podcast.
Fully packed, mate. As I said, this period, Christmas period, leading into January, it's always jam-packed with games. It just doesn't stop. We love it.
To kick it off on Boxing Day here in Australia at 11:30 p.m, we have Leicester versus Manchester United in probably the pick of the games for the round.
Great
so we've
matchup.
got Leicester United, Aston Villa Palace, Fulham Southampton. And I said there was going to be another loss, but it's Arsenal Chelsea this week.
This could get ugly, Domma. We could quite comfortably lose this game by 3-4 goals, mate.
Oh,
we're shambles, and Chelsea are looking good.
Yeah, City, Newcastle, Sheffield, Everton, Leeds, Burnley. Then on Monday, here our time, West Ham, Brighton, Liverpool, West Brom, Wolves, Spurs. Then we roll into Tuesday. We got Palace, Leicester, Chelsea, Aston Villa, another great game. Then we have Everton, Man City as well, another great game. Then on Wednesday, Brighton versus Arsenal.
Must win.
You what.
Must win.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't want to lose to Brighton because you will be in relegation zone, I reckon. Burnley, Sheffield, Southampton, West Ham, West Brom, Leeds, Manchester United versus Wolves. This is the day of our
Danger
podcast.
Game.
But then it follows over onto the Thursday, which will end week 16 games, which is Spurs, Fulham, and Newcastle versus Liverpool. So some jam-packed games in the next week. It is full of football, and we love it. So yeah, that wraps it up. Hopefully, all the best to you, mate, going into this week. Hopefully you have some Christmas luck and we can get a few wins. But coming up next, some UFC.
2.
All right, we're back. Saucy, give us the rundown on UFC.
So, UFC Fight Night, Thompson versus Neal. We will run through the main card, as we usually do. Heavyweight division, you had Marcin Tybura defeated Greg Hardy, which, if you ask me, was probably a surprise, but he got the KO in the second round. And then you had Rob Font defeated Marlon Moraes in the bantamweight division, KO in the first round. And the welterweight division, Mikel Pereira defeated Kalen Williams in decision on the judges' score card. Went to the 3-round max. Then you had the bantamweight division, Jose Aldo defeated Marlon Vera on the decision. Went to the judges' scorecards. And then in the main event, you had Stephen Wonderboy Thompson defeated Jeff Neal. Went the distance, 5 rounds. The judges seen Wonderboy Thompson as the winner at the end. And ladies and gents, anyone out there, if you can find a replay of this main event, definitely go watch it. It was 5 rounds, action-packed stuff. Just go have a look at Wonderboy Thompson's face after it and just see the damage. And Greg Neal was much the same. So guys took blows. There was absolutely carnage on both sides, Domma. Both men took blows and they just keep walking forward at each other. Went the distance. It was an amazing fight. Both fighters embraced at the end. And they knew that they'd put on a great spectacle for the fans. So, yeah. Domma, that's UFC done for 2020. The next UFC cards are going to be in 2021, and we've got some massive stuff looking forward into the new year in 2021. Obviously, we've got Conor McGregor. He's going to be facing off against Poirier. So that's definitely one to look forward to. And then, let's see... obviously, you got John Bon Jones, who's now stepped up into the heavyweight, and we're really, really excited to see him fight some heavyweight guys and see how he goes moving up. And then, that light heavyweight, we want to see what happens there also. So,
it's gonna be a big year for UFC.
Massive year for UFC. It's going to be massive. This is UFC sort of in the last 12 to 24 months, convincingly has surpassed boxing as the number one watched combat sport in the world, comfortably. And Dana White is just a genius. Just the way he's built this brand, this powerhouse that is the UFC, and MMA is the must-watch sport if you like combat sports. It's way better than boxing.
As you know, I'm a big boxing fan. I'm a bigger boxing fan. Well, massive boxing fan over MMA. And we've never spoken about it on this show till this point. I will not speak. There'll never be a feature on this show until Dana White takes over, because he will be, ladies and gents.
You've spoken about it, Domma. Put it out there. What your thought is. What you've rambled to me on.
It's going to happen. It is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. If you know Dana White's story, he started in boxing, and he saw the potential that mixed martial arts had. That's why he went into MMA. He got laughed out of the room so many times. People thought it was never going to be anything because he was a boxing guy and because they thought he had no idea. But as we've seen, he's one of the greatest promoters in the history of just combat sports. And as you know, boxing is a shambles. They've resorted to just YouTubers fighting like the greatest fighters of all time. I don't know if you follow Days in Boxing, but they've actually got the fights. If you want to actually watch good and like proper boxing, they got Ryan Garcia on there, Canelo Alvarez fights through there. That's proper. Don't worry about Showtime Boxing and HBO Boxing. It's a shambles.
And what about the other one, the Top Rank?
No, it's all a shambles, mate. It's genuinely all just trash. The only time I watch HBO Showtime Boxing is if the heavyweights are fighting. Example, Wilder, Fury, or Anthony Joshua. That's the only time I watch. They're the 3 best fighters in the world, boxing-wise, by a mile. But it's just a shambles. They're all over the shop. They haven't got one centralized point to dictate and set up fights, i.e., UFC with Dana White, who facilitates the whole cards, fight nights, like proper UFC 256 main events, for example. They haven't got any of that. They're all over the shop. Sauce and I actually spoke about this. A world heavyweight champion will lose a bout, but he'll lose a bout from one like a HBO bout or a Showtime bout, and he's still holding 3 world heavyweight championships. It's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard of in my life. It is actually just dumb. Like, you got to make it centralized. You fight for one bout. You lose that bout, you're not a world heavyweight champion. You're a nobody. You got to work up to get to that point again. It'll give more opportunity for younger kids to get involved. Boxing is the most corrupt shit on the planet. It's just all money. It's all promoters looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
The promoters would have a place in a centralized form of boxing if, like, not for example, when Dana White takes over, because Dana White will give the opportunity for promoters to promote their athlete, their fighter, and they'll get money. As you know, happens in MMA. They get paid based on their fights. So I'm saying it now. Don't be surprised. You might laugh at this, but Dana White's bigger in boxing in terms of, like, he loves UFC, obviously, but his love for boxing is more than what it is for mixed martial arts. And I can tell you right now, he's sitting there watching Mayweather come up against Logan Paul, Jake Paul, whoever the hell he's freaking fighting. I don't know, some dud. That's like the fact that Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest fighters in the history of boxing, I understand he fought Conor McGregor, and it was like a crossover, but at least Conor McGregor's a fighter. He's not a YouTuber. But the fact that he's fighting a YouTuber in his second fight, it's just so dumb. It's just embarrassing. So I can tell you now, he's looking at this stuff behind closed doors, and he's shaking his head in absolute disgust.
Oh, he did come out and say, this is some comment like,
He said that he lost to another YouTuber and he's fighting against Mayweather.
Yeah, and he goes, that just shows you where boxing is at the moment.
Yeah, they've got no idea.
When he realizes that if he comes and actually, creates a this is where it will be hard, because you need to get rid of sort of all of the other rubbish, all the other federations. You need to come under one federation. There should be only one world federation. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it'll be the same thing again. Like, so it'll be, for example, don't want to touch on it for too long. Could be a discussion for another day. But it'll be like, there'll be HBO boxing, Showtime boxing, DAZN boxing, top ranked boxing. But then Dana White will say, guess what? I'm creating Ultimate Fighting Championship boxing. So UFC boxing, for example. It could be a different name. Because as you know, UFC's got competitors in Bellator and all those other companies anyway. But the fact is, all the best fighters in the world are going to say, do we want to fight for these guys, or do we want to fight for Dana White? And all it takes is one guy. All it takes is like a Wilder, a Fury, or Anthony Joshua, or a Ryan Garcia, who's a young up-and-comer, to sign with him, and then it's it. They'll all go there. The only thing that's going to hold these fighters back is their promoters in their ear saying, no, I can get you a better fight, Because all they care about, they do care about their fighter, because they care about their fighter because they want to line their pockets with more and more money.
Yeah, but the problem is why we want to see one federation is so that you've got a guy like the situation that UFC is in now, where you make the fights, and that's the fight. You don't got, guys ducking and weaving. You won't have situations where in the future where you've got freaking Mayweather fighting Pacquiao 5 years after his prime when he should have fought him 5 years earlier, and it's all just a ducking and weaving game so that, Mayweather knew, I'm the better guy at this age because I've looked after my fitness better or whatever, right? You won't get that. You'll see the fights when you want to see them. And that's why you need to have a guy like Dana White where it comes in and he says what the fight is, and that's the fight. That's it. There's no, you're looking for a fight. All right, I've got you a fighter, and it's going to be in 8 months' time, and you're fighting this guy. That's 100%.
100%. The ducking and weaving bullshit is the biggest joke of all time. Like, I'm the best fighter, but just shut up. It's just because you want the money. Like, yeah, I completely agree with that statement, Sauce. You hit the nail on the head. No one can duck and weave and run away from anyone when it's centralized. And Dana White, for example, comes out and says, "Fuck, guess what, Floyd? You're fighting Manny Pacquiao in his prime. They're both in their prime. You're fighting him. You can't duck this. He's the number one contender. That's how it works."
Yeah.
Because you're fighting for one belt, mate.
How ridiculous is that? In boxing,
no 25 belts. The only way you can duck him after is you just say, "No, I don't want to fight in this weight class." But guess what? There's a champion in the other weight class that you're going to have to fight anyway. So you get the fights that you want.
Yeah, that's
So
what we need.
that's what we need. Dana,
Until that point, then we won't be talking about boxing
no
on
boxing.
this show.
This is the first and only time we're going to talk about it. It's not going to be a weekly thing till that happens. Anyway, good stuff there. Well done to the UFC as well. They did a freaking remarkable job this year in the circumstances that they had. Dana White, we can sing his praises, and you might think, oh, yeah, you know what, you're talking up this guy. When everyone said to Dana White, you can't do it, he said, get effed, I'm doing it this way, and he made it work. And
it was the first live sports back on TV.
Correct. He dominated. Well done to them. Well done to the UFC. They've done a fantastic job. Anyway, coming up next, NFL. We are really ramping up. There's only 2 weeks of gameplay left. And there's one division with one team in there. Could come down to week 17. So stay tuned.
Three, two.
All right, we're back. NFL is heating up here. Let's go through the week 15 results, pardon me, and then we'll get into next week and just a division there there's 2 divisions actually right on the edge. So we started Chargers versus Raiders. As we said a couple of weeks ago, we don't know what's going on with the Raiders. They are now 500. They're 7-7. They lost to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, 7 games with 300-plus pass yards. NFL rookie record for him. He's going to be a star, as we know. Bills beat the Broncos in the next game, 48-19. They clinched the AFC East for the first time since 1995. Well done to them. Packers beat Panthers 24-16. Texans lost to the Colts 27-20. Indianapolis has won 10 of their last 13 games. Then, I don't know what happened in this game, John. Maybe you can tell me what happened in this next game. But why? Why? Why are the Jets trying to win a game? Why? They lost the number 1 pick. Why, when you know you're going to get rid of your quarterback and Trevor Lawrence is there, why are you trying to win? Do they have an ulterior motive? Are they potentially... My only thought process is they package up that number 2 pick and Sam Darnold and send him to the Panthers for the number 1 pick. But that makes no sense because they could have just lost and had the number 1 pick. I don't understand. I don't know what they're trying to do. It's their first win since week 17 in 2019. Jets, newsflash. It shouldn't have been your first win to 2021. Like, what are you doing?
Domma,
what are you doing?
What are they thinking?
Honestly,
you should have been going down to the local rec game and picking up guys down there and signing them to a 10-day contract, Jets, and putting them on the field in your defense so Jared Goff won it. But you actually tried this game. You tried in the game, and look, the Rams themselves didn't help themselves, Domma. They were dreadful.
No, I know that.
They were dreadful, and deserved to lose the game. But the New York Jets, you are losing a guy that people are saying coming out of this draft in Trevor Lawrence. People are likening him to John Elway, are likening him to Andrew Luck, and how they just knew that coming out of college he was going to be a gun. And these aren't names and multiple scouts out there, NFL scouts. So they don't throw this stuff around lightly. They talk so highly of this guy and what he is about, and you've seen what he's about at Clemson over the last 3 seasons. Three seasons, and he's there once again, potentially going to win a national championship.
Mate, he's won one already, and he played in the final. He lost to Joey Burrow last year, but he still made it.
Right?
Potentially could make it again this year. He won't win
the New York Jets franchise, not only have you just sucked for how long, but you could have just sucked for just a tiny bit longer.
Just for 3 more weeks. Last week and the next 2 weeks. You just had to lose. Who cares?
But, Domma, can you explain to me how they now have lost the number 1 pick when they've only won 1 game?
I actually have no idea. Honestly, I don't know how it works. There's like some technicality thing in there because like Jacksonville's won the exact same thing. I don't understand how it works, but Justin Fields is still there in the number 2 pick for the Jets. It looks like they're going to have to take him. He's the second best quarterback, but he's a good player. I'm not knocking Justin Fields. He's a great player, but I'm just saying, wouldn't you have preferred the guy that looks like could be a generational talent? Like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, moving on. Sauce is going to look up the reason why they lost that number 1 pick. Titans beat Lions 46-25. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 27-31. Shades of Super Bowl nightmares there for Brady at one stage. They were down by a mile when he came back and he beat them. Ravens beat the Jags 40-14. Dolphins beat the Patriots. Patriots are now going to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2008. Bears beat Vikings 33-27. Kirk Cousins lost his marbles. Brown beat the Giants 20-6. Seahawks beat Washington 20-15. Eagles lost to the Cardinals 33-26. Chiefs beat Saints 32-29. Kansas has won 11 straight road games. It's the longest active streak in the NFL. Cowboys beat the 49ers 41-33. And then the Steelers got jumped by the Bengals, beating them 27-17. Now listen, we discussed this a little bit, Saucy and I, amongst each other. Pittsburgh are on top of that division, 11-2. Now, Cleveland's 10-3.
This is an interesting division, Domma.
Now, Pittsburgh plays Indianapolis this week, who Indianapolis need to win because they're 10-4 alongside Tennessee, who are 10-4. So they're trying to win their division. If the Colts beat the Steelers this week, they go to 11-4, whatever it is. And if the Browns win against the Jets, which I don't think the Jets are going to want to win too many more games, they're going to be equal on wins going to week 17. Where, guess what, ladies and gents? Cleveland and Pittsburgh play each other in week 17. So, I know I'm going to be barracking for Saucy's boys this week. I'm going for the Colts. I want them to win because I want to see Pittsburgh versus Cleveland for the division in week 17.
We want it coming down to the final
we
week.
Want to see Baker touchdown maker.
Oh.
Who he wasn't that for the last.
Just running back, Tom, I've just had to look into it. So how it works,
yes,
for the people out there. So essentially now they've got an equal record with the Jags, and based off the strength of schedule at the beginning of the season, Jags actually had a easier strength of schedule or something like that, or harder strength of schedule, something like that. It goes along the lines of their strength of schedule. So based off that, now the Jags are a prime position to get the number 1 pick, and them trading away all their stars at the start of the season, Fournette and who else, they got rid of a whole bunch of guys. They look like absolute geniuses.
Yeah, the bottom line is you shouldn't have won, New York. So anyway, let's go on to week 16. Vikings at Saints, Buccaneers at Lions, San Francisco at Cardinals, Dolphins at Raiders, Colts at Steelers, Falcons at Chiefs, Bears at Jags, Bengals at Texans, Giants at Ravens, Browns at Jets, Panthers at Washington, Broncos at Chargers, Eagles at Cowboys. That could also determine potentially a division. Rams at Seahawks, Titans at Packers, and the last game is Bills at Patriots, and I expect the Bills Mafia to absolutely demolish New England in that game. So yeah, it's looking good. 2 weeks left, Saucy. There's a bit on the line, and we can't wait for the playoffs, really. We're really gearing into it, and we'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks.
We're excited, and obviously my boys, my Super Bowl tick. First of all, my boys, the Colts, they're still there and thereabouts, and they've hit that 10 wins, and at the start of the season they were 9.5 wins, and I took the overs, so I've called it. We've nailed that one on the money, and let's hope that they can win that division, and I can get the double up on that one. But my boys, the Saints, that I picked at the beginning of the season, Drew Brees back, against my homeboy and the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolutely demolished, but only lost by 4 points in the end? 5 points in the end, less than a TD. And if you go have a look at the time of possession, I think they were double the Saints' time of possession. So the Saints had no right to be in that game, but yet they were there and potentially could have, pinched it. So not worried. Drew Brees back. He's got another 2 weeks to get a few more reps under the belt before the start of the playoffs. And let's hope that they can keep it rolling. Because what a pick that would be at the beginning of the season. I called them at $11 to win the Super Bowl.
You did. You definitely did. And the good thing is both of our teams yours definitely going to be a shoo-in, but ours looking like they might get a wild card entry. So
and Tua looking the good. So I think it's more about Tua Tagovailoa. Is that how you say it? Tagovailoa. I think it's more about that because he's looking like he's meant for the NFL. He doesn't make many mistakes, Domma. He looks after the ball, and that's what you need in an NFL quarterback. If you can look 100%. After the ball and minimize your turnovers and just be consistently good and at times great, it's a team sport and you can still win.
And the defense is unbelievable at the moment. Our defense is unbelievable. So we'll stay tuned and see what happens there. Anyway, coming up next, bit of hobby talk. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're back. Hobby talk. We love this segment. Saucy has seen a few trends. This will run into Sauceys Smokey in the next segment, but he's seeing a trend with Zion. As we know, the NBA season's back, so cards are going crazy. Like Taylor Horn Tucker and KZ Okpala had 6-3, so everyone lost their marbles and selling KZ Okpala and it's just lost.
KZ Okpala cards I was buying for 65 cents, Dom, and I sold one for $15. You tell me that? What's the ROI on that?
Yeah, you probably made all your bloody money back.
I made back half the money of the stack of base prisms I've got for all my KZ Okpala cards.
And this man right here has a lot of KZ Okpala cards, so he's laughing. But Saucy, this Zion Prizm.
Yes.
It's gone gangbusters.
Yeah, absolutely gangbusters. And, there's one thing that was to mention was I did give a Smokey not so long ago. We've actually got a post on our socials. You go roll back on Instagram, have a look back through the feed, Sauceys Smokey, Zion Optic card, where I was telling people on October the 24th to buy the Zion Optic card. Now, if we go, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to switch it over to the mini home overlay once I figure out which screen I'm supposed to be up. Here we go. All right. He's quick these days, Domma. So I'll switch it over for the listeners out there. I've got it over. I've got the card ladder up. As we always, it's a regular feature on the show. Got the card ladder up, and I'm looking at the Zion Williamson Prizm base rookie card PSA 10. Right now, it's last sold 9,806. Now, that number's actually more because there was a whole lot that sold. 20 of them sold for $20K. So it's at $1,000. There was a lot on eBay. 20,000 sold for $20K. And I know it was a confirmed sale because the guy on Instagram, which I follow, posted a screenshot of the sale that the guy had actually paid him $20K. Right? So that money's hit his account. So we know that that's 100% verified. So these now are at $1K. Now, Domma, on the 24th of October, if you just go have a look back here on this, the 24th of October, we had a sale on the 23rd of October of this Prizm base card, where I was telling you that this Zion market, I was saying the Optic card because I thought the Optic card was more affordable than the Prizm card. But the Prizm base, PSA 10, on that same date, if you took the advice and just looked at Zion in general, $554. Now, if you bought it back then, you would have now pretty much doubled your money. So you had so much time, even, up until the start, even the start of this month, you could have still picked one up for about 675 USD, PSA 10, and you would be absolutely laughing now. You'd be up, probably 60% on your investment. So, Zion Williamson at hitting the 1K. I believe this is an all-time high for the Zion Williamson Prizm PSA 10 base card. And, you've got Lucas, which is up at 2K. So if you truly believe that Zion is not that far behind Luka in terms of up-and-coming young gun potential, then, it's still probably not a bad buy. But you got to also remember, it may not still be a bad buy if you want to make a quick flip. If you've seen his preseason form, if he carries any bit of that over into the regular season, and in his first sort of few games balls out, this card could literally, skyrocket up over 1,500 within, a week or two.
I'll be honest with you. Let's make a prediction here, because let's say by the 10th of January, let's give it 2 weeks. Yeah. If he plays average, it'll go down to about $750.
Yep.
Yeah. But if he dominates, I'm calling this by the 10th of January. So in 2 podcast time, I reckon, or 3 podcast time, I reckon the card could be worth over $2,000.
Yeah. And, that's a very reasonable possibility, Domma.
That's if he puts up those preseason numbers he put up. If that happens consistently for every game that he plays, it is going to be over 2K. People are going to lose their shit. Lose it. They're going to lose it.
And I talked about, the Optic card. So we'll go have a back look when I told people to buy it on the 24th of... we had a sale on the 25th of October, which was at 246 PSA 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is, ladies and gentlemen, part of the Sauceys Smokey, but the Saucy does have something else for that as well. So just
this was a Sauceys Smokey I was telling people back on October 23rd, around that date, to buy. Now, even if you took this advice and bought that back then, which we had sales at 200, between 220 to 240, it's now last sold has 340. So you would have made $100 if you'd bought it back then. So what I was more saying was, although, I'm telling you the Optic card, the Zion market back then, when I was telling you to buy these Zion cards, was way, way down from where I feel it should have been.
Well, everyone was off of him because
yes, correct, right? So it was the perfect time to come in, buy, and wait for the start of the season, wait for him to play a few games, and then sell. Now, I still think that this Optic card is incredibly undervalued. If you have a look at that Prizm card, and we spoke about, if he plays well these first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season, that Prizm card is going to get well up over 1,500. People aren't going to be able to afford it, and as much with the price rise, pretty much doubled from what you could have bought, and tripled pretty much what you could have bought it sort of, 8 weeks ago. People are going to look to the next best option, which is the Optic card and the Select card. So buying this Optic card right now is not a bad buy at 330 PSA 10. If you think that he's going to, carry on that preseason form, the BGS 9.5. Once again, I was alerting people. It was around about the 125 mark, 127. Now it's last sold 173, so even that is still affordable. The only thing is, I'm very wary now, with the discrepancies in, the PSA and BGS. It's a tough one to continue to just keep riding the BGS wave when, if you spend a little bit extra money and get the PSA 10 instead of the BGS 9.5 when that card, if you believe in that card and you believe in that player, when the market moves, it's the PSA 10 that moves the most. And, unfortunately, although, I hate just writing PSAs D, but it's just the reality that if you're looking to get the most on your investment, unfortunately, you have to get the PSA cards. That's just the way the market is. And from what's transpired recently, in terms of PSA being taken over, Collectors Universe being bought out, it seems as though that the company is potentially looking to the next stage. And if they actually rectify their waiting times and get it back to a manageable level, it's game over for the other grading companies, and we've spoken about it. Still, up until this point, we've had no news from Beckett. No improvements on their online system, on their tracking system of their cards. They still don't have a tracking sort of system to tell you what point your cards are at in the grading process. These are all bad things for Beckett themselves. SGC are even doing better in that regard than Beckett. It's I don't like to speak about it in the sense that I hate disregarding the other grading companies, because I just hate paying for the premiums of PSA. But if you're looking to get the most out of your investment, you have to buy PSA. I'll keep saying it, as much as I hate to say it, but it's the reality. And you can't defute the facts that are on the screen, and Card Ladder gives you those facts in a nice graph, and you can view it all. And if you've got the Pro version, I'm pretty sure you can also compare the BGS and the PSA 10 and see how they're all doing it together on the one graph. That's just where it's at, Domma.
And
spoke about it. And another quick mention, I'll also mention, is an Allen Iverson PSA 10 Topps Chrome Refractor, where there's only 36 in the world. I believe it was a new high sale of $25,000.
I think I know someone that collects a fair bit of Allen Iverson. Could be looking at him. He was on that bandwagon while everyone wasn't regarding him, so could have something there, mate.
When you got to, and I said, the vintage guys, and I'll keep saying it. Allen Iverson was another one which I didn't speak about. Yeah, he hasn't won a championship, but when you have a look at the moments of the game, and when I talk about and moments in the sense of, everyone remembers his crossover on Jordan. That's such a famous video. Everyone remembers his step over on Ty Lue. He's just got iconic moments in basketball history. Are we talking about practice? He's got iconic moments, and those are the things, unfortunately, even though he hasn't won chips, those are the things that will also drive card prices. You need to realize this, because even though I keep talking about Tim Duncan, what's the reason why his card prices aren't at the point where aren't at the point that they probably deserve in terms of his accomplishments? It's because he never gave you. Are we talking about practice quotes? He never gave you, tongue in cheek. He was just plain Jane, boring Timmy D. His game style was boring. The way he spoke to the media was boring. The way he presented himself was boring. He never wore flashy clothes on the arena walk. He'd just have jeans and a t-shirt. No Nike, no nothing. Just be like a plain t-shirt or just whatever, right? It's just, and unfortunately, those things affect the card prices. Even though I hate that fact, but they do. And Allen Iverson, big buy. And soon after that sale, I actually see a collector here in Australia trying to sell the same card, PSA 10. It's what's going to happen after you get an all-time high. You're going to get the people that are holding one of those 36 PSA 10 Topps Chrome Refractor Allen Iverson rookie cards coming out of the woodworks. And there was one on the NBA Card Market Australia Facebook page coming out of the woodworks and posting it for sale for 36,000 lacquers.
Wow.
Australian dollars. So,
wow.
Let's see if there's any takers. Look, personally, I wouldn't be buying a Allen Iverson for 36,000. Even though Allen Iverson, look, I love him, But with $36,000, if I was to have that, I would literally go buy $36,000 of Kobe rookie cards.
Or LeBron.
Or LeBron rookie cards, yes.
It's just no-brainer. Anyway, very nice. Just a couple things to mention in this segment before we finish up. We had a special pod with Talking Cardboard during the week that launched. It's a bit of a season preview for the NBA. Your over-unders may not be taken into effect now if you want to gamble responsibly, but we do cover Eastern and Western Conference champions. We gave our predictions on that. MVP, Rookie of the Year, NBA champions. So have a listen. A lot of banter in that in that podcast. It was very, very funny with the boys there. And also, we do have a Christmas special coming out on Christmas Day. I don't know if I should actually name who the person is, because I think we'll just wait for that. But we do have a special podcast coming out on Christmas. Stay tuned to our socials for tomorrow.
We're going to pump it up, Domma. We're not naming it. We're going to pump it up.
Nah, we've got some stuff coming out tomorrow on who it is. And we are very, very grateful to the person for giving up his time to join us and have a good chat about cards. Not all just basketball cards, all types of different cards. Some quirky stuff in there as well that the person collects, which is awesome. It's good to get a perspective on those markets as well. So stay tuned for that. It'll be awesome. Next up, to end the show with, I'll be honest, I'm going to tease into this segment, probably one of the best cards. I didn't even know this existed. One of the best rookie card combos of all time in the hobby. So stay tuned for the most anticipated segment, Sauceys Smokey, coming up next. All right, welcome back to the most anticipated segment, Sauceys Smokey. Now, Sauce, you sent me this card during the week, and I almost fell off my chair because it reminded me of another special card that's out there that looks the same. Yep. Now, I'll let you explain what that card is, that it can be compared to. And in my opinion, like obviously some of the players on that first card ranked a lot higher, but this one will give it its run for its money. So, Sauce, get into it. Let's go.
So, first of all, Domma, how I found this card, and you find cards the most unlikely ways. I was scrolling through an Instagram story and flicking through and seeing this card, and I was like, hang on, that card, is that a rookie card? And I looked it up. And sure enough, it was a rookie card with three guys who, no doubt, going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. No doubt. They're not in the Hall of Fame yet. But seeing the card itself reminded me of another great card which has three players on it as a rookie card. And that, it reminded me of the, what is it? I think it's 1981?
Yeah, I think so.
It's 1981, the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Dr. Julius Erving rookie card. It's got the three of them on it, and I believe it can be ripped apart. It's perforated, but, people keep it together. Excuse me. It reminded me of that, right? And I looked at it, but there was another thing that really just stood out to me, was the three players that were on this rookie card. They played together, and they've won multiple chips together. So I just found it so fascinating that these three teammates were on the same card. And it's a rookie card. And the card I'm talking...
It is the most affordable thing.
Yeah, right, Domma? And the card I'm talking about here, as I'm just going to flick it over to the mini home overlay. Ladies and gents, the card I'm talking about here, I've got the image up, is the 2003 Topps Matrix 2003 Topps Matrix, like Matrix the movie. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. Rookie card. I think that this card here is so severely undervalued. It is like, I can't see that if you buy one of these cards, you stash it away, and you pull it out in whatever 10 years time when all these guys are inducted into the Hall of Fame. I do not see how this card, you can buy a raw one currently for $100 I believe. Look here, one went on the 16th of December for $76.
There's one on bids that's up pretty high though today, a PSA. PSA 8, I understand it's graded, but even that was at about 250.
Right? Yeah, moment. Right? So you've got, let's have a look here. A PSA 9 went for 790 Canadian dollars, which is about 800 Australian. US dollars, I'm not exactly sure. You had a last sold on a SGC 9.5 at 454 US dollars. And then you had, you can keep rolling down the list. You had PSA 8 at 280. A PSA 8 sold today at 258. It was 260.
Yeah, I think so.
And
all in US dollars.
You got SGC 9 sold for 300. Now, if you go back and have a look, Domma, why I say to buy this card now is because if you just go back and have a look, scroll back, I seen, what here? Your PSA. So this card's incredibly hard to find graded, first of all. I looked up the pop report. There's only 94 graded in the whole world. Just graded under PSAs itself. PSA 10s, I think there's 10 only. 10 of them.
Wow.
So I've got the feeling that this is one of those cards at the time, people thought that this card's a rubbish card. Now, how it's panned out in these guys' career, where they've teamed up, they've won 2 chips together, and they're all from the same rookie year, that's like a three-hit combo for me. It's a must-buy. Because all these guys are future Hall of Famers. Dwayne Wade's 100% in the Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh is 100% in the Hall of Fame. And LeBron James, well, let's be honest, he's going in the Hall of Fame. So, for me, you're buying a card of 3 Hall of Famers on the same card. It's amazing stuff. And the fact that it's so cheap is, where you had PSA 8s. Here we go. On the 1st of October, this is what I looked at. PSA 8 sold for $325. Then a PSA 8, another one, on the 2nd of October, sold for $375, right? And then you had, you got a PSA 7 sold for 300 Canadian dollars. But then you come up to today, where you've got the latest sales. If you go have a look at the latest PSA 8, which would be, today one sold for $260, I think it was. I know because I was the one who bought it. Right? And then, your last sales, you got 280, 242, 242, 240. Now, this card was up around over 300, 350 just in October. So, the fact that the market has already come down on it and you can get it a little bit cheaper from them, I still think that that's undervalued, even at a PSA 8. It's a dark bordered card. It's a perforated card, prone to damage. You have a look at it, front and back. Those dark borders, it's going to be a tough grade.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those cards that back in the day, or whatever, people thought this card would be worth nothing. So I don't think there would be many out there that people are looking after. And I highly doubt that there's much... Well, I could be wrong, but I highly doubt there's much Topps Matrix product that's unopened.
Yeah, but the other thing as well you got to think about is how many kids or so-and-so actually ripped the perforated edges off that card.
And separated it. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So you got to think about that as well. The other thing as well is it's just a modern take on that Magic Bird and
Correct.
Dr. J card. It is a modern take on the card. So... I reckon it's an awesome card. Yeah, it might not tickle a lot of people's fancy for the fact of how it looks, but it's the fact that, honestly, if I can get my hands on that, it's 3 of my favorite players ever. And as a Miami Heat fan, having those three guys on the card, they all won a chip together. Uh, it means a lot more to me once again on top of that. So I reckon it's a great purchase. It's severely underrated. I think people are going to start catching on to this card. All it takes is one person of notable status to put this card out there. And I think this
Could you
card could
imagine
potentially...
Gary V post this
Yeah.
card? Like, this is a card that Gary V would post. Three Hall of Famers on the same card, won titles at the same team. You know,
Wouldn't surprise me if Gary's actually got this card.
and look, we'll just have a look at the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Julius Erving card that we spoke about previously. And you know, you've got a last sold on a raw one going for $300 US. Right?
Yeah.
So it's a similar type of card. And when you can buy a raw one for 75 to 100, 120, why can't that raw card be well worth up over 200 in the future? Especially if the guy's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then your graded ones, once again, we spoke about it, where there's only 94 graded currently. How many more of these just going to come out of the woodworks that weren't damaged that badly, or that weren't ripped, or didn't separate the perforated guys because you could have? And most likely this Topps Matrix product, I reckon, was probably aimed for kids. It was more of a kid's product. So if you got a lot of kids that opened it, most likely they ripped the perforated edges. Right?
100%.
I don't think it's a high-end product. So it, once again, just brings it back down to the rarity of the card. And I think, with less than 100 total graded, Domma.
Why don't you check right now, while we've got listeners and viewers, if you can actually buy a box of Topps Matrix.
That's a good idea.
And see how much a box of that's going for. Because if a box of that is potentially going for the same as a raw of this card, can get some other gems in there. Because Saucy, there's another variant of this card out there with another guy on there that hasn't got a chip, but will also go into the Hall of Fame.
Here we go.
In Carmelo Anthony.
There's your Topps Matrix box, right? So what we got? It's going at about 3K.
Okay.
Well, there's one up on bids at 1,000. I actually don't think that's the worst box you can buy. You're buying 2003/4 LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade rookie year. It's not a bad buy at $1,000 if no one bids on that.
It's true.
We'll have a look at the sold items, see if there's anything.
We're delving into this here.
There we go.
We are all over it.
Oh, just over 1,000, Domma. Just over 1,000 for
bad.
a box. I'll tell you what. Let's go have a let's chuck it in on the 130 point, because that gives us the true last sold. We'll see what it brings up. Here we go. Definitely. $1,200 US for a sealed box of Topps Matrix. That's what, 1,500 Australian dollars. Would you rather spend 1,500 Australian dollars on a prizm box, or would you rather buy a LeBron James rookie year box? Ladies and gents, think about it. Even Optic or whatever from this year's going that much. Would you rather spend 1,500 Australian dollars on a LeBron James rookie year box, or current day players Prizm 1920 this year, or Optic 1920?
True, because even if
you've got Optic retail boxes, Domma.
Yeah.
Optic retail boxes, are up around about $800 US.
Yeah, but even if you don't get the Matrix you want, as long as you got LeBron in there, it's going to be worth something.
Not even, Domma. You don't do that. You buy the wax and you keep it sealed. You chuck it in the collection, and when this card catches on, like I keep saying, not only will the card skyrocket, but the wax itself will skyrocket.
It's true.
You don't even open the box at this point. You go buy the ones on the market, and if you're going to buy the box, you keep it sealed.
That is Sauceys Smokey, and that is a ripper. We will put a post out on that on our socials within the week, but that is an absolute ripper.
Hidden gem, if you ask me.
It is. It definitely is. Definitely is, especially because you can get Camelo in that.
Yeah, and there's another one,
as well.
obviously, without Bosch and Mallow, and then there's other ones with Mallow, Wade, and Bosch. You know, you can get that whole, all four of those guys, if you can get any three of those on the same card, so those four guys, obviously there's only three of them allowed on the card, whatever combo they are in, I think they're a buy, but I gravitated towards this one, obviously, they've played on the same team,
100%.
two chips together, same draft year, the three whammies for me, and that was a must buy.
Beautiful. Very nice. Well, that sums up another great Sauceys Smokey, and another pod is done. Just on behalf of us, to sign off, a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays to everyone out there. Wish you all safe travels, stay safe, and look forward to bringing you another pod, which, Saucy, bit of a teaser. I'll be coming to you next week, ladies and gents, from an undisclosed location. So Saucy's looking forward to that. Undisclosed. Who knows where I could be. So stay tuned for that, but we will bring you a pod. But also stay tuned for the big announcement tomorrow on our socials for the Christmas pod that is coming
Christmas
out.
special.
So yeah.
It's a big one.
Definitely. So keep living, loving, and breathing sports. It's been double coverage. I'm Dom with the great man Sauce.
Peace out, ladies and gents. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Podcasting app. Also, follow us on socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Talking all spots. Double curve.